it's going to be another, I think, potential coming out party. It's going to be Elizeu Zaleski versus Rinat Fakhretdinov. Classic kind of striker versus grappler, if you will. Elizeu, I mean, he's 24-7. He is 3-2 in his last five. From Brazil, 36 years old. He's fighting against Rinat, 22-2, 5-0 in his last five. He's coming off of that Kevin Lee retirement fight where he just destroyed Kevin Lee. I think he knocked him down and then he just guillotine choked him. Um, 32 years old. As far as their measurables, they're pretty much similar. I think Fakhretdinov has a 1 inch height and reach advantage. I think that especially looking at the odds here, Renat opened up at minus 400, and he was kind of bet down to actually a minus like 250 or 235, and now he's settled into a minus 330. Interesting odds there. I'll let you break down this fight first, just so we can kind of switch it up. What are your thoughts on this fight? And I'll give my thoughts.
So Zaleski here, he's probably mostly going to be here to strike. I don't think he wants to grapple at all with a Rinat Fakhretdinov. Um, he does have a win against our boy BSD, God of War, Benoit Saint Denis, but I think Benoit Saint Denis was just not in his weight division and
Yeah.
was just not there yet in terms of striking. So yeah, um, Zaleski, I think he's on the come down. He's looking not that great in his last fight. I think he could have lost that actually against Abu Bakar Nurmagomedov. That split decision win. I think he did get rocked there too. Um, and against Renat, I think Renat is on his way to be a top 5 contender.
Oh,
This guy, I think this guy is legit. He's 22-2, and his last 2 fights he showed his he's much improved in the hands. He can strike against the long Brian Battle, who dropped him multiple times. Man, he's very impressive. That was very impressive, and I'm very high on Brian Battle. Zaleski, he's looking like he's on his way down here, and against an up and coming contender in Renat, who I think all the hype is real, and then some. I believe he's probably going to be close to. I'm considering him being the lock of the card for me,
mm,
Fakhretdinov. What worries me here is that this is in Brazil, and if Zaleski is able to avoid any catastrophic finishes or getting dropped or anything like that, Zaleski is a good striker. He's a pretty good striker, but I think he might be slowing down now. But yeah, Renat is my pick here. He's my potential lock on this card. So yeah, I like Renat here.
awesome. Yeah, I mean, I agree with most of what you said. Zaleski, wild striker. He does have some legit power, fighting in constant movement, but I feel like he's on the wrong side of 35 for that kind of style, right? I believe his nickname is Capoeira, which is that kind of dancing Brazilian kind of style. Coming off of the split win over Abu Nurmagomedov, was taken down. You mentioned, I think he might have also got rocked. I don't think that's a good look to get that close of a fight over Abu, who is barely UFC caliber in my opinion. Before his Abu fight, like you mentioned, won against Benoit Saint Denis, but obviously Benoit was coming up from 155 to fight him at 170. Before that was a split decision loss to Muslim Salikov, another old, past his prime kind of fighter. He has okay takedown defense, 65%, but he's lost by decision 56% of the time. He's been sub 28% of the time in his losses. I think that's just a horrible recipe, especially fighting a guy like Renat, who's a high pressure grappler, wrestler. comes at you right in your face and takes you down to pound on you or sub you. He has improved striking. I mean, coming off of a quick round one sub of Kevin Lee that sent him to retirement. He knocked down Kevin Lee. I think he subbed him. So he's improving with his hands, fighting at a pretty good gym at ATT. I also think that Renat's in the prime of his career, dark horse for the 170 division, like you mentioned, potential top five fighter there if he keeps on fighting and working his way up the ranks. Yeah, I mean Renat's a parlay piece for me. I think he's absolute lock. I'll put him in all the parlays just because styles make fights, and I feel like so the only concern I might have for Renat is that he might be potentially too focused on the grappling, and maybe he could, find his neck in the guillotine or something like that. But I just feel that he's going to be too advanced and too strong to to have that happen against Elizeu. I mean, Zaleski does have a lot of veteran experience, but I feel like this is his time to kind of, he's kind of on his way out as well. I mean, just losing that last fight against Abubakar, not a good look. And plus, Zaleski only has three submission wins. 13% of his wins are submissions. That's not really that high, especially he has 24 wins, right? And only three of those submissions. So, yeah, I mean, the pick for me probably going to be Renat here and probably a lock. So I'll put him in the parlays.